with you before we started this. I was diagnosed with PTSD in 1994. I've never had a drug or alcohol issue. So as I've gone through my own journey with the mental health system, and I'm kind of on the other end now, I look at all that is, there has been progress, there has been much progress made in the field of mental health. How do you get the veteran, and this would be for anybody in you know, on the earth basically, how do you get them to get into mental health counseling? I mean, you can't force anybody.
Right.
And there is still a huge stigma about asking for help, which I have to say, I feel very blessed to be in my home state while all this is happening about suicide awareness, because when I was young, there was nothing like this.
Yeah.
You didn't go to a counselor. When my
Right.
mom took her life, it was one day she was alive, she didn't come home at night, and we just were supposed to deal with it, and there was no discussion about anything. And so I'm happy for that, but I still know that there's a lot of fear in asking for help because they're afraid they're going to lose everything that they worked so hard for. So how do you bridge that gap?
You know, it's been a long process. It's an ongoing process. We just talk about them and try to normalize a mental illness, because reality is most people have some form of mental illness, whether it's generalized anxiety or bouts of depression or PTSD. I mean, we all at one point in our life experience some form of mental illness, and just talking about it and, you know, trying to eliminate that stigma, because the reason people don't seek help is because there is that stigma. Mm-hmm. And I mean, at one time in my life, I probably wouldn't have admitted it, but I've experienced mental illness. I've been diagnosed with PTSD. And when I got out of the military, it wasn't as much of a emphasis. It wasn't talked about. Now it's talked about. Now it's encouraged. Now at the VA, even if you're just going to a doctor's appointment with your primary care provider, the nurses are talking about PTSD, about suicidal thoughts, and they have a
so
screening.
they're screening?
They're screening, yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I
Yeah.
know that St. Luke's started that last
VA
year.
does it.
And the VA as well.
Yeah,
That's
and we've done it for quite a while. Any appointment you go to, there's a questionnaire they ask you, and it's a PTSD screening, and it's a suicide screening. So, so we're a work in progress. You know, you hear about the 22 suicides a day. That number's gone down. Hasn't gone down as much as we'd like to see it, but it's gone down. The misperception out there is that it was young combat veterans that were committing suicide. It never was. Sadly, it's older veterans that were committing suicide. Mm-hmm. And right now, last report I read, it's about 20 a day, which again, that's not a big decrease, but it's going down. Veterans are like the general population. You know, there's a suicide epidemic in the general population. It's not just veterans. But if the veteran community can help raise awareness for this bigger problem, I think that's a good thing.
I agree.
But I would like to see the number go down more. And I know the VA medical centers are really taking an aggressive approach at addressing suicide. You know, we have ongoing training about suicide awareness. We're screening veterans for suicide. I know here on campus, and I'm the only VA employee on campus, but we kind of work as a team. I work real closely with the BSU Veteran Center staff. If there's a veteran that we even suspect is struggling, and I don't just limit it to here, but we've trained professors, we've trained BSU counselors. We surround them. I mean, we don't overwhelm them, but I mean, we really make sure they're okay, and if there's any care they need, we make sure they find a way to get to the VA. So we take it seriously.
Good.